Okay.
All right, guys. Happy May the 9th. We've made it through another 2 months of lockdown. We are here. Good Lord. It is going to be a fantastic week for movie news, guys, for a couple of reasons, actually. Because you got yourself, myself, not yourself, myself, DJ Washington here, but we've also got Miss Rhiannon Roberts. She's going to be one of our new guest hosts on the channel here, and she's got a fantastic pedigree I'd love to have her tell you all about. So without further ado, before we talk about what's happening here, and first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for sticking around and dealing with the delay here in the production. A lot of kinks to work out. But anyhow, just wanted to say that first. Miss Rhiannon, you're here. You're on screen. Say hello to our audience and tell us a little bit about yourself and why they should be listening to you about movies.
Hey guys. So yeah, why am I talking about movies? I've been in the film industry, since I was like 4 years old, since like the 90s. My parents just threw me into acting, so I kind of just stuck with it until my early 20s, and then I ended up briefly working with Screen Gems Film Studio up in New York City, and then I don't know how this happened, but I ended up covering space launches for NASA Social, and on board with the whole social media thing, I managed a international film festival on social media for Blue Ocean Film Festival, which is an ocean conservation summit. So I've been all over the place when it comes to my career, and I have no idea what's going to happen after this, but we shall see.
Excellent, excellent. All right, guys. So as you can tell, Rhiannon has a very tried and storied history with social media. I'm getting some reverb here. Guys, sorry for the janky production values here. Let me try and figure this out here. If you guys could let me know in the live chat, actually, if you're hearing reverb from this point forward, I will do my best to fix it. But as you guys know, Rhiannon definitely has a very strong acumen with social media presence for some very large and very interesting companies, of which are actually going to be starting off our first two topics for today. So before we get into that, though, guys, remember on this channel, we do our best to check out your viewer letter submissions and, of course, your submissions for the topic of the week. And you can do so by submitting it to moi, your boy DJ, at dj@moviepop.org. So send us either your suggestion for the topic of the week. I will be more than elated. Definitely will have my nipples hard and percolated, ready for you to read it on screen. And of course, if you do have a viewer letter like we have had for the past couple of broadcasts since we launched this awesome segment in the channel, I will be more than happy to read it. Now, guys, this week, unfortunately, we do not have any viewer letters to read on screen, but we do have a viewer-submitted topic of the week, which we will be covering at the halfway point on this broadcast. So stick around. You definitely do not want to miss it. So, without further delay, guys, we're going to dive into our first topic of the week, and I am so excited to talk about it. I know Rhiannon is definitely excited to talk about it. So, Rhiannon, we know we've got some news here. It's coming to us, of course, from IndieWire, the fantastic people at IndieWire, and it's regarding Steve Carell's newest workplace comedy, Space Force.
Oh my God, I'm so
yeah, go
thrilled
ahead,
for
girl.
Oh my God, I'm so thrilled. No, I'm so excited because I think I read somewhere that like didn't they just say like, hey, do you want to sign on board with like a show called Space Force, and they didn't even know what it was going to be about, and they were like, I like it, yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of pitch is that, right? I mean, I like it, yeah.
Dude, I have been like seriously waiting so long for not only a Steve Carell-led television show after The Office, but provided that it's in this context of something that's relevant as a space force or something we need, something that President Trump has enacted as an actual government body. I think it's so timely, it's so great, and yeah, I'm feeling it.
Right. And I'll be honest, like, I reacted this way, and I know a lot of people reacted this way, was right when we heard that he was creating a space force. A lot of us were like, that's a joke, right? So I'm pretty sure that's what Hollywood thought when he created Space Force. But I guess, like, when you think about it, I guess, you know, Space Force does kind of make sense in the end, but it's still humorous.
Right, yeah, despite the Cheeto haired looking maniac who enacted it, I think... You know, credit should be given where credit is due. So all.
All
right, guys.
But the cast is brilliant, and I'm so looking forward to Steve Carell and like John Malkovich. God, I love those guys.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So pumped.
Okay.
Perfect cast.
So, guys, if you have not heard, you've got our little opinion on this. Let's break to you what IndieWire has said regarding this project. Okay. Once he managed a branch of a paper company in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Now, he's heading the latest branch of the United States Armed Forces. Ooh, all right. Netflix has released the trailer for Space Force, its upcoming Steve Carell-led workplace comedy series. Space Force is co-created by Carell and Greg Daniels, who wrote The Office. Also, a side note, he has written a new show called Upload on Amazon Prime, so check that out if you guys are fans of The Office. John Malkovich, Diana Silvers, Tawny Newsome, and Ben Schwartz will star in the series alongside co-stars Lisa Kudrow, Jimmy O. Yang, Noah Emmerich, Alex Sparrow, and Don Lake. Now, while the series title and synopsis have obvious parallels to the real-world Space Force branch of the nation's armed forces recently reestablished by President Donald Trump, Carell notes that the show's potential political timelines had deceptively little to do with its formation. So I think that's very interesting. Now, there's a couple quotes here I did want to cover in the article I felt were relevant to the viewers here. This is, of course, coming from Steve Carell. He says, Space Force came around in a rather atypical way. Netflix had this premise that they thought might make a funny show. The idea made everybody laugh in a meeting, an idea of a show about the origins of a fictitious Space Force. Netflix pitched the show to me, and then I pitched the show to Greg, and we all had the same reaction to it. There was no show. There was no idea aside from the title. Netflix asked, "You want to do a show called Space Force?" And I pretty much immediately said, "Well, yeah, sure, that sounds great." And then I called Greg and I said, "Hey, do you want to do a show called Space Force?" And he said, "Yeah, sounds good, let's do it." And really, based on nothing except this name that made everybody laugh, so we were all off and running. That, of course, is coming from a very comedic tone from Steve Carell. Rhiannon, I've spoken enough. Do you have anything else you want to add on this subject here? Because I know you've probably got a lot to say.
Gosh, from briefly being in the space industry, there's so many ways that this show could go, and I'm so excited that they're bringing attention to the space industry in like a humorous way. I'm just pumped to see what the first episode's like, because the idea behind it could be really funny. The commercial alone, I mean, the trailer alone is hysterical. So
yes,
I'm curious to see how they're going to portray this. So
yeah. I'm very curious too, and I think, you know, had Netflix done this maybe like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I would have had some reservations, because Netflix has been trying to find their footing in terms of quality production value. But obviously, there is no larger gorilla or kingpin in internet dominance for movie studios or television production than Netflix, separate from Disney Plus or HBO. So I have full faith in them, and especially Rhiannon, as you mentioned, the fact that they have not only Steve Carell in this, they've got John Malkovich. This guy does not take projects lightly.
No.
Right?
No, he does not. He's such a phenomenal actor, and so I again, like, I think that they have an amazing cast and Lisa Kudrow.
Yes.
I'm just excited to see what their on-screen chemistry is like.
Right.
But yeah. I'm really, really excited to see this.
Okay. All right, guys. We are both excited. How are you feeling, guys? Let us know, of course, your thoughts, your comments in the live chat over yonder. You can do so by highlighting my name at MoviePOP. I'll see it pop up on screen. I'll know to read your message on the on live on screen here. And of course, for those of you viewing after the broadcast, do us a favor. Leave your comments down below. We'll definitely be responding, and of course, submitting our top comments for the next and future broadcasts. So, guys, without any further ado, we're going to move into our second topic here, and this is coming to us from, why am I talking English? The fantastic people at Deadline, and this is regarding, ooh, lordy. Boom. Regarding another space topic. Wow, Rhiannon, what have you brought onto us here?
Are we talking about SpaceX?
Oh, I think we might be talking. Oh, all right. What you drinking there? Moon juice?
No, it's tea. I'm very British.
Oh, right. All right. Okay.
Unfortunately, and it's not spiked, but conveniently it's in my SpaceX mug. So.
All right. Very good there.
My Falcon Heavy SpaceX.
All right. To that end, guys, I did mention to you Rhiannon was a social media whiz who has actually worked with NASA and SpaceX, so this is all the more relevant here. We're going to really try to dive deep into this. I'm going to give you my opinion, of course, as a layman on the subject, read what Deadline has to talk to us about, and then, of course, Rhiannon is going to slap all of our collective asses and tell us what the skinny is. So let's start off here with
I don't know how much I can slap around.
As long as you do it 6 feet apart from all of us, I think we're within CDC guidelines. So,
yes.
All right, guys, coming to us from Deadline. Out of this world, Tom Cruise plots movie to shoot in space with Elon Musk's SpaceX. Look at this guy. Tom Cruise and Elon Musk's SpaceX are working on a project with NASA that would be the first narrative feature film, an action adventure, to be shot in outer space. It's not a Mission Impossible film, and no studio. And this is the biggest part from the article. If you take anything from this, guys, no studio is in the mix at this stage. But this is real, albeit in the early stages of liftoff. There has never been a leading man who puts himself at risk as often as does Cruise, in the name of the most realistic action sequences possible. If he is successful shooting a project in Musk's spaceship, he will be alone in the Hollywood record books. And most recently, there is an update from Deadline stating that NASA Administrator Jim, and correct me on this pronunciation, Rhiannon, Jim Bridenstine?
Yeah, good enough.
Okay, Jim Bridenstine on Tuesday, who did confirm this scoop from Deadline. As you can see here, here's a tweet from Jim Bridenstine saying, NASA is excited to work with Tom Cruise on a film aboard the space station. We need popular media to inspire a new generation of engineers and scientists to make NASA's ambitious plans a reality. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Rhiannon, because I've said the obvious here, reading off the article. What are your thoughts on this? What implications do you think this has, first of all, for Hollywood film productions? And what implications do you think it has in terms of sparking the interest of space exploration?
Well, first of all, when I heard that Tom Cruise was doing something with Elon Musk, I immediately thought, well, of course they are. First of all, with Elon Musk, he loves to be on top of everything when it comes to advancing humankind, and I just feel like here we are in 2020, and why not? Why not film a movie in space? Second of all, Tom Cruise, he's all about, I feel like he's really all about, like, what is his legacy going to be? And I think, I mean, of course, Tom Cruise would be like the first actor to be like, I want to be the very first actor to film something in space.
Right.
And like, I'm like immediately, I'm like, now the film side of me is going, who's going to ensure that?
Oof.
What's the film budget going to be? And I mean, of course, we discussed this briefly earlier, is that there's no way that the entire film is going to be in space.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to take like the lighting crew, the camera crew, the grip up in space? It's going to be quite expensive unless you just attach like a GoPro to
Or Tom Cruise's
So,
personal
but no.
assistant, right? In space.
Yeah, well, right. Exactly. But I mean, of course, and he does his own stunts all the time. Of course, he's going to do the most extreme thing that he can possibly think of. And I think a little bit of ego comes into play of wanting to be the first actor to be up in space. So let's see if it actually happens, because I know that there was Lance Bass. Back when we were youngins, he wanted to be up in space, remember? And he was like training to go up into space, and that never happened.
I had totally forgotten about that until this very moment.
No, he trained with the Russians or something, didn't he? I don't know. We'll see if this happens, but usually whenever Elon Musk says he's going to do something, he does it. Like the flamethrower business, he come up with that thing, and then his
wow.
Whenever he comes up with an idea, he goes with it. So I'm pretty sure that they're probably going to do this, but we'll see how it's executed. Hopefully they make it to knock on wood.
Yes, knock on wood here. I think it's very curious, as you had stated, Rhiannon, that this really seems to me to be like something akin to lightning in a bottle. And the best way I can describe it is, let's think about films that were shot in the past that were the full embodiment of this phrase, lightning in the bottle. And the first thing that comes to my mind is the Back to the Future trilogy, right? You had a fantastic production element behind the camera with Robert Zemeckis writing and directing, fantastic on-screen talent with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Everything just seemed to fall into place, and it was like something that was just timeless and effervescent. And the fact that, we have Elon Musk, one of the foremost pioneers of all things amazing, who is also as eccentric as they come. He's literally a living Tony Stark, tied in tandem with somebody as eccentric and crazy enough to do something like this as Tom Cruise is, coming together and making a film in space. It's definitely, I think, right? And then the timing too is absolutely perfect, because hate him or love him, President Trump enacted Space Force as a real sixth branch of the military armed services. So having all this come into combination with each other, I think really the time is right, the moment is right, and I think it's great. Right,
and also like another tidbit to add is I love how NASA is getting more and more involved with like any form of media. Like we discussed this before.
Please do tell our audience. I'm sorry to interrupt, but please, because we spoke. Please inform them about this and how that works.
Definitely. Okay, so it's not just by chance that you're seeing these space films. It's just seriously, like NASA is being brilliant with their public relations at this point. It's just such a great tool to recruit more scientists, more engineers for future products, future projects, because I mean, previously, but before our generation, NASA was kind of like hush-hush about a bunch of the things that they worked on, and it didn't seem realistic. Like, I remember in first grade when my teacher went around the room and asked, "What do you guys want to do when you grow up?" And I, as a female, said, "I want to be I want to be an astronaut." And she looked at me and she goes, "No, you can't. Do something more realistic." And I love how NASA is now starting to come into this, like they're frequently seen in like movies, fashion now, like anything and everything, just to show people like, hey, yeah, you can be part of this too, not just as a scientist and an engineer. Like we discussed with Coach, the handbag brand, they came up with a NASA product line, and that wasn't by accident. Literally, NASA teamed up with Coach on that. So they're starting to just really intertwine with a bunch of different things, with media and fashion and whatnot, to recruit new future communicators, scientists, engineers, and I think that's really exciting. So, like they worked on The Martian, they worked on Hidden Figures, and so
right.
Definitely not an accident. Yeah, it's definitely not an accident that they're creating more and more space-themed stuff. And what else to get you more excited for the space industry than space teaming up with freaking Tom Cruise, right?
yeah, absolutely. Here, okay, Rhiannon, God, that's such great insight. Especially with the whole thing you told me about the Coach bag. I mean, I don't think they have Coach bags for men, so I don't know if this would have been on my radar per se. But
No, it's like keychains, it's like jackets. It's, I don't know, like their whole product line. It's not just the handbags. They've got sneakers that have NASA on it. So
right,
pretty cool. You should check out that line.
For sure. Okay. Yeah. Definitely will do. I did actually happen to look up the Coach bags by NASA, and I don't care if it's made for women. I want to rock it. It looks awesome. It looks amazing.
But, want to rock it. I like that, but I'm fun.
Yes. Hey, Rhiannon, bear with me for one moment here. Guys, I've been informed here by our members here in the live chat that we got a little bit of an echo still persisting here. So I'm going to try and triage the issue here. I just want to let you guys know watching that I am aware. This is our first run here. So please forgive the normal level of quality being dropped in terms of the audio. But to that end, while I'm working on that, Rhiannon, is there anything else you could talk to us either about? Let's kind of encompass the subjects for Tom Cruise in space, SpaceX, or the Space Force Netflix show. It's kind of free game right here, open mic. So
yes. Okay, while we're talking about SpaceX, what's on everyone's mind? How do you pronounce his baby's name?
Oh God!
I figure it's a dial-up sound.
Yeah.
I have heard it's just X-A12.
It's
no judgment, but
you know, I actually listened to this most recent interview with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan asked him his exact same question. It's literally X. And then what, AE, or however you pronounce that? And then
it's like an italicized AE, but it's Ash.
Ash.
That's how it's.
Okay, so X Ash A12.
A12.
That's
A12, which is the precursor to their favorite aircraft.
Yes.
And Grimes said something about how it's good in war or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't recall exactly the details, but it's still. Nonetheless, a crazy name, so hopefully that helps you.
Right. I would love to see from anyone who's watching any comments that they have to say about their thoughts on that name.
Let's see here. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to fix this whole audio situation. Let's see here. To that end, sorry, I'm totally scatterbrained at the moment. Rhiannon, I'm going to hand it. Yeah, let me hand it back to you regarding the subject of SpaceX.
Oh, wonderful! Now I'm the host of the show for like 5 minutes, hopefully not that long. But yeah, no, literally like the name of that baby just has me completely boggled. I feel kind of bad for that kid.
Yeah.
I've seen he's like when he was 24 hours old, people were already making TikToks about the poor baby being like an alien and whatnot.
I'm not gonna lie, I posted a meme where it's like it's Elon Musk. You know that Drake meme where he's like, I'm not gonna lie, and then he's like, so imagine like Elon Musk where he's like this, and then the tag says, naming your child after, sorry, what is it? Naming your password after your child, and Elon Musk is, oh sorry, you can't see me. Have you seen this meme? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, no, like Elon with names has been interesting because I also heard that like with Grimes, I forgot what her real name is, but he made her change her name. From what I heard, I don't know how much this is true, but he made her change her name to like italicized something. It was like a letter that means like sound of light or speed of light. Sound of light? Yeah, no, speed of light. Where's my brain right now? It was so odd. He made her change her name legally. Where's my brain right now? From what I heard. Wait, did someone say?
I have not heard that.
No. From what I heard. Yeah, no, it was here. Let me bring it up. It was like I think her original name, unless I'm making this up, is Claire, and I feel like he changed her name to italicized C for speed of light. And I feel like speed or something like that. It's really weird for speed of light. And I feel like speed or something like that. It's really Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's sweet. Sorry, I'm changing the whole subject of the show to like names, okay? So I'm reading this right now. So Grimes announced that she decided to change her name to italicized C, a scientific symbol of the speed of light. Okay. So yeah, she did change her name to italicized C. So no surprise that yeah, she would name her kid. She did change her name to italicized. Just imagine the poor nurse who had to write that down when they were like, yeah, we'd like to name our child X Ash A12, and the nurse is probably like, how do you spell that?
Good Lord.
I would love to have known. I'm glad I wasn't that nurse when that poor baby was delivered. And he has 5 other kids too. He has like a set of twins and a set of triplets from a previous marriage. And I know that he didn't name them weird names. So why this child? Why this baby?
I know, I'm making you feel very awkward right now. I'm trying not to respond. This is almost impossible to do. Yeah.
No, I'm so sorry.
This is almost impossible to do. Yeah.
So the echo is still happening, huh?
Yeah, guys, I don't know if I'm going to be able to resolve this here. So just for the sake of the broadcast here, I'm going to move forward. We will work on our own, separate from this broadcast, and iron that out. So the next broadcast is on point. If I can get a, if you guys can hit Y or K or whatever it is you internet people do online in chats to say that you support what's going on, hit Y or K in the chat. Let me know if you're okay with moving forward. If the echo is not intolerable, Rhiannon, I'm sorry, of course, that you'll have to listen to yourself in playback with an echo. So, all right, Y's it is. We're gonna move on here, guys, because we got some topics to cover. So I want to give some shout outs here. I did. Sorry, guys, I've been so awesome. Okay, G Wolf. Shout out to G Wolf 333. Of course, Digital Nomad Sage. I thought I saw Paul in Long Beach here. What up, brother? From the Post Geek Singularity himself, Robert Meyer Burnett's channel. Awesome to have you here, brother. I thought I saw. Oh, yes, Jordy Lyons is dropping in from United Kingdom himself. Of course, our fantastic moderator and movie insider who works in the film industry in the United Kingdom. Thank you, dude, for being here. Really appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm going to move through some of the live comments or questions here that I did see pop up before we move into our third topic. This one is going to be coming to us from Paul in Long Beach. He says, "Dear people who may be watching the show and are from another part of the multiverse, please provide your reviews of the Black Widow movie with spoilers." Paul, that is awesome. Thank you for letting our multiverse viewers know that we need to know what their opinion of Black Widow is. Because for those of you living underneath a rock, Black Widow was supposed to premiere 8 days ago, May 1st. We should have been well into, is it Phase 3 or Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And of course, now that has been postponed and delayed into a late summer release date. So yes, please, multiverse people, let us know how it is, and spoilers are most welcome. Thanks, Paul. All right, Rhiannon, do you actually follow any of the MCU or multiverse? I'm sorry, our Marvel films? All right, Rhiannon, do you actually follow any of the MCU?
You gotta repeat that. Sorry, you're breaking up.
Uh-oh. No, I was asking actually if you follow any of the MCU films, the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Endgame.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I watch all of them. All of them. Yeah. No, I'm a big Marvel fan.
Excellent. All right.
Marvel and DC are both great, but man, Marvel is probably like a little bit better for
Yeah.
me.
Oh, yeah. Clearly. It means you have a brain. Oops, did I say that? Oops. Sorry for all you DC fans out there, but it is what it is. A deal's a deal. All right. Guys, we're gonna move into our third topic for today, and don't forget we do have a viewer submitted topic we will be covering after the commercial break, halfway through the broadcast today. So, without further ado, let's move into our third topic, and this is coming to us actually from the LA Times. And this is a good one, guys. I chose this topic. It's not lighthearted. It's kind of serious, but I think it does shine a spotlight on a particular segment of production in Hollywood that is often overlooked, and I wanted to raise awareness to it. So, if you'll indulge me. Whatever happens, happens, baby. Yes. Here's from the Los Angeles Times. This stunt woman here lost her arm on a Resident Evil movie. Then her ordeal began. A tattoo of scissors follows a seam along Olivia Jackson's upper arm, below which the stunt performer's arm is amputated. It is one way for the former South African model to bring levity to her life as she battles chronic pain that some days could only be met with tears and drug-induced sleep. 4 years ago, the former Thai boxer was racing on a motorcycle on a disguised highway west of Pretoria as a double for Mila Jovovich in an installment of a popular zombie action franchise, Resident Evil, when she barreled into a crane-mounted camera. She was left close to death. Following a 4-year legal battle, the 38-year-old last month won a court ruling in South Africa's High Court, which laid blame for the accident with the driver of the vehicle on which the camera was mounted. But, in Jackson's view, it was a limited victory. Under South African law, her only financial recourse now is with the country's Road Accident Fund. This fund indemnifies drivers and compensates victims in road traffic accidents, but strictly caps compensation for medical expenses and limits payouts for loss of earnings at 9% of Jackson's annual income, according to court filings. That could be less than $15,000 a year, according to Jackson and her attorney. Now, this is a quote from Jackson. "I've had so much taken away from me. I can't ever work again. I don't have the job that I was extremely successful in and that I loved so much." Before taking on her role in Resident Evil, she had been a stunt double for Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road and worked on Star Wars and Marvel movies. But, she adds, many of those involved in those movies continue to work in the industry. She says, "I feel absolutely disgusted in people's behavior." Now, Jackson's ordeal highlights the vulnerabilities of performers on set, especially on international productions, where it can be challenging to recover damages for injuries. She's quoted again as saying, "There just aren't enough people globally with genuine experience in actually running action movie films shot safely. While producers have chased lower-cost locations, they can't always get an experienced crew to work in that country." Resident Evil, the final chapter, the movie, of course, was released in 2016, went on to gross $312 million globally against a production budget of $40 million, according to Box Office Mojo. So, to those of you viewing right now, of course, I'm going to put on my somber face. And all joking aside with that statement, it is a very serious issue, and I think something that should be spoken about. And I mentioned that last recap there with the box office budget. $312 million is what they earned. You multiply, let's see. We know a production company and studio has to make triple the cost of a film to be considered a win. $40 million. 40, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay, so already we're at $200 million. That's already 5 times its initial investment. The fact that this woman, a stunt double for one of its lead stars, is having to battle in legal court in a foreign country to recoup a semblance of some sort of financial recourse for the horrific details, which I will detail here in this article, is absolutely shocking and revolting. So let me explain to you why this is relevant, why I'm bringing this to your attention, okay? Because according to the court filings, here is what happened. Originally, Jackson was expecting to perform a fight scene, but due to rain, she was asked to do a motorbike ride instead. In the scene, Jackson had to speed the motorcycle about 45 miles per hour towards a camera attached to a mechanical crane mounted on a Mercedes-Benz SUV driving towards her. The plan was that the boom would lift from how low it was off the ground and then rise above her, with the camera rotating to shoot her passing underneath. In the final of 3 runs, the boom lifted too late and she smashed into the camera, damaging her left arm so badly it was amputated and tearing off the flesh off her cheek, exposing her teeth. She woke up 17 days later in a hospital from a medically induced coma, during which doctors performed the life-saving surgery. So guys, imagine yourself in that position. How would you feel? Not only because of the inciting incident itself, but because of the production company you had been assured by, you had comprehensive insurance to cover such a catastrophe. And at the very least, if not that, some sort of financial remuneration. Provided the context, as I mentioned, $312 million global box office on a $40 million production budget. None of the producers or those involved in the film have declined to comment. So I'm going to close out by saying here, she is quoted as saying, if at least I had some compensation that would help me to look after myself, help me to survive for the rest of my life, that would at least help. So, guys, this is the only somber topic we are going to discuss. I did want to bring it to your attention because I was not aware of, for lack of a better word, the atrocity beheld on some of our overlooked industry people. I mean, if there are no stunt people in these action temples, there is no action film. Rhiannon, I've spoken quite enough here. I know you read the article. I know you work in the industry yourself. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy, actually. When I was in college, this was my senior year, we went around the room and my professor asked, okay, what's everyone going to do when you graduate? I don't know why I said this, but I said, I'm going to be a stunt woman. I really thought that that's what I was going to do. And I was going to sign up for this program at Universal Studios for stunt school, and I was pumped to do it. And then after talking to a bunch of stunt people in the industry who've worked on major movies, they talked me out of it because of how dangerous it is and how they're not well taken care of if they're injured, unfortunately. I remember, gosh, and this wasn't even like a stunt person, this was an actor. You probably remember The Crow, right, when we were young?
Yeah, that's
yeah, with Lee, what's his name?
Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee. Oh God, I had the biggest crush on that guy, and he was killed from a gun, a prop gun on set, and I mean, I briefly Googled how many people have died from stunt fails since the 1980s, and it's absolutely ridiculous that people aren't, these actors or these stunt actors aren't, taken care of afterwards. It's just really unfortunate. Like, first of all, these accidents should not happen.
Right.
And then for a plan B, when these accidents do happen, it's just a shame because, I just Googled how big the industry is. So the film industry was worth in 2018 an estimated $136 billion.
Right. Yeah, it was. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna actually, of course, guys, as I always do. I'm very candid. Sorry, no sound. Okay.
You can't hear me?
I was trying to fix your audio simultaneously, but apparently I can't do that. So we're gonna have to bear with the. I'm still trying to work on the echo here,
I
but
wish I knew sign language.
Yeah, guys, next time we'll do.
I'll hold up signs. I'll type it out and show you guys what I have to say.
Right. Okay, forget that. I'll stop trying to tinker with that. That's my ADD working on action there. Okay, forget that. I'll stop trying to. Rhiannon, I'm not gonna lie. Guys, and of course to you as well. I'm very candid about my knowledge, about my lack of knowledge as well. I had no idea about this. I assumed the best on behalf of the production studios and the companies and people involved in production. I thought something as basic as this. I mean, you have a woman who literally lost her arm, as you can see on screen here, guys.
Yeah.
Some compensation. I mean, $15,000, dude. You can make more money, polishing shoes in the street of New York in a couple months doing that. So what the hell? You've got $300 million for a global box office. Something more than that. I mean, it's insulting to say the least. So I was shocked to read this, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I thought.
I also worked behind the scenes too, not just as an actor. I worked film crew and as a production assistant. God, we would work 15-hour days, and I mean, mistakes happen when you've got those really long film schedules, and you probably sleep maybe 5 hours during the night. No, it's difficult when people have first lack of sleep, and then second of all, when I was working 15 hours, my body wore down, and I got injured on set, but there's no HR department to go to when you're freelance like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was never SAG, so I never knew.
I was gonna say, yeah. What about the unions like SAG, right?
Yeah, I was never a union because here in Florida, it's a right-to-work state. So if you're SAG, it limits you on your work. So I didn't want to go that route.
Gotcha.
But SAG does have certain protections. But unfortunately, I'm not very well educated on those protections. But
well, shit.
No, I've heard from a ton of people who are professional stunt performers when I briefly thought that that's what I was going to do after graduating from college.
Yeah.
Because I'm a thrill seeker. I'm the first person to sign up to go diving with great whites in South Africa or skydive out of a plane. And most recently, I went paragliding and in Interlaken, Switzerland. I'm a thrill seeker, but I'm not to that point where I'm willing to lose my life or a limb.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that they don't help their actors out.
Yeah, and to that end, I mean, considering that you limited as your negative experience being in the first world in America, the most awesome country in the world, is with regards to this subject matter. I mean, imagine in this case someone who is internationally working for some other international satellite company on behalf of an American company, and what kind of recourses she may have. Clearly, not to their benefit. So. Yeah, guys, I won't, be Sir Buzz Killington here and stinking the party up, but I think, if there is something of some social value and context worth mentioning that is not being covered online, I wanted to do that. So that's the only downer we have here for today, guys. We're going to move forward, though, into our fourth topic. And of course, it is coming to us. Oh, actually, you know what? Before we do that, we've got viewer comments here. Paul in Long Beach says, did we really have to go from normal annoying hornets to murder hornets with nothing in between? Couldn't we have had a brief stop at aggravated assault hornets first? Dude, I mean, what the hell is going on with 2020, man? It started off yeah, we made it. 2020 was the future, baby. And then, it suddenly just the crap just shat on us, and lockdockdown, Corona,
starting
murder
in January with the basketball player incident. Gosh.
Oh, dude.
It was immediate.
Right. Yeah. What about that? Jesus Lord.
Who knows what's gonna happen next month? I don't want to
I think Trump is going to have martial law lockdown and voting is suspended for your safety. It's going to be
Trump will
interesting.
become king.
Emperor Trump, all hail.
Emperor Trump.
All right. Paul in Long Beach also here says there has been a wasp invasion too, but they mostly only appeared in state capitals. Interesting. I was not aware of that, Paul. I actually just learned about the murder hornet. Do you have any murder hornets happening in Tampa right now, or Florida?
No, but I just watched a video of a guy who willingly likes to get, well, I don't know if he enjoys doing it, but he makes videos of himself getting stung by various things to show how painful it is.
Oh, that's freaky.
And I don't know if you guys watch this video, but he forces this killer hornet to sting him, and his arm just swells up, and he's like, oh God, this is the worst thing. This is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And his arm just swelled. It did not look pretty. I mean, it immediately swelled up, and like his arm like stiffened up, and I wouldn't want that job.
Yeah, no.
Like, I'm fine co-hosting here, just as long as you don't force me to get stung by anything.
Not yet, anyways. But we will be we'll be eating elk penis on screen and injecting ourselves with beast hornets. So just get ready for that.
I'm a vegetarian, so I can't eat that.
Ah, you son of a gun. Well, I'll be helping myself to a full portion. Just to let you guys know.
I'll just watch you.
All right.
I actually had a friend. He was on a show on MTV2 with his band, and it was hysterical because like they went to like Colorado or something, and they're British. They don't know what oyster. What is it? It's like cow testicles.
Oh yeah, the bull testicles, right? Mountain oysters or some
oysters or something like
right.
that. And so they served this to him at a restaurant. And so, like, while the cameras are on him for MTV2, he's, like, eating these Rocky Mountain oysters.
Rocky Mountain, yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Sounds
like
great, right? But
oh, this is awful. And they're like, yeah. Well, he's, like, spitting it out on TV. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, nice.
But, yeah, for the guy who lives in England, you would probably know who my friend is. He's in the band Busted.
Oh, boy. All right, guys. I got two questions here actually directed to you, Rhiannon, from Mr. Paul in Long Beach. He does have a comment. He says, ironically, I was talked out of stunt work in my 20s as well. And then also he continues to say, that's why people get the SAG card in Florida, then move to LA. So
I was constantly told, get your SAG card and move to LA, or it was Shreveport, Louisiana for a while. Wilmington, North Carolina, New York. So they had all these areas to move to. And I wished I could have moved, but unfortunately I had a parent situation that I could not leave Tampa. I was taking care of my family. So I chose family over my career, and that's why I'm still stuck in Tampa. But my husband and I are trying to move to New York now. So who knows, I might end up back in the film industry with all of my film contacts. So
excellent.
I'll have more insight if I go back into the film industry.
Excellent. Well, yeah, shame on you for focusing on your family first and foremost over your career. You're a horrible person, and I hope you burn in hell. Yeah, shame on you for focusing
I know,
on your
right?
family
Well, here at 30 years old, I'm just like, oh, darn it. Like, what I could have achieved in life, because I have so many other friends who've, like, ended up working on movies. In fact,
Jesus.
I turned down working on Spider-Man 2, not the Tobey Maguire one, but the most recent one with Andrew Garfield. Yeah, I was supposed to work on that movie with the camera department, and I sat down. They filmed out of New York City, and I was on the call sheet, and I had to say no to that because I had other priorities here.
Yeah, guys, for all of you watching at home, feeling like crap about yourselves, myself included, and you see this fine specimen of a woman saying how she feels like she's accomplished nothing at 30 with her full pedigree. Also, I think you were studying your master's at Harvard Business School as well. Oh, poor me. Just to let you know, you're doing just fine. Life is suffering. We're all okay. It's all good. Just to let you know, you're doing just fine.
No, I didn't finish my master's. I was like 3 classes deep at USF, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to get a master's degree in sustainability at Harvard, and I registered for the class at USF, and I dropped out.
Well, still, all the same.
I realized that there were no jobs when Trump became president. Not to go political, but I'm just saying, like, sustainability kind of phased out.
Right.
So I realized that there weren't any jobs. So I was like,
all right, guys. we have rapped waxotic about everything and more, and then some. So let's move on forward into more loose and goosey topics here. The bulk of which this was a very front-loaded broadcast, guys. So keep that in mind moving forward. I know we're going to be moving to the fourth topic. They are going to be lighter. We're going to kind of breeze through those. So don't worry, your time is not being wasted. Yes, let's go on to that fourth topic right now. And again, this is going to be coming to us from Variety, and it's regarding the haunting of I can read. I'm literate. Give me a moment. I have to adjust something on screen here. The haunting of Bly. Give me a moment. Thank you. Yes. The haunting of Bly Manor. Team to adapt Midnight Club as a Netflix series exclusive. The Haunting of Bly Manor. The team behind The Haunting of Bly Manor at Netflix is now set to adapt Christopher Pike's novel, The Midnight Club, for the streamer. The book was originally published in 1994, and it takes place at the Rotterdam home, a hospice for terminally ill teenagers. A group of patients begin to gather together at midnight to share scary stories. And they eventually make a pact that whichever of them dies first will contact others from beyond the grave. Now, this is interesting, guys, because the Haunting creator Mike Flanagan will create the Midnight Club series for television along with Leah Fong. He will also executive produce via Intrepid Pictures. If you guys aren't familiar with Mike Flanagan, he was involved with the production of The Haunting on Hill House. And I believe also The Haunting of Bly Manor, which Rhiannon, we spoke about before the broadcast here. I think we're equally confused in regards to whether or not it is on Netflix. And it does say here in the article that it was indeed ordered in February 2019 as a follow-up, but it is now expected to be debuting sometime in 2020, hence our confusion. And those of you guys, of course, if you're not familiar with Mike Flanagan on the onset, hopefully The Haunting of Hill House will be some reminder to you, or most notably, Dr. Sleep, which is one of the most underrated films of last year. All the same, guys, it looks like we've got some awesome things coming out of Netflix. Rhiannon, I want to ask you here, of course, your thoughts on this here. Awesome things coming out of Netflix.
So I wish that I had watched The Haunting of Hill House. I actually didn't watch it. As much as I love spooky movies, TV shows, all that, I should have watched it, and I really want to get back and do that. But this I'm actually really excited about, because, again, back to our childhood. Did you ever watch, oh gosh, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, of course.
Like, showed up around like the fire, and they like told each other spooky stories.
Man.
It sounds like the Haunting of Bly Manor just sounds like that gone dark.
Right, yeah.
It just sounds like Are You Afraid of the Dark gone really, really dark. I'm pumped for this, actually. And anything like when we were talking about this earlier, I was confused. I was thinking of something completely different. So now that I've re-educated myself on what this is, no, this sounds really good, because like anything with like patients in hospitals, like, sign me up. I want to watch this.
Good deal, Rhiannon. All right, excellent. So, guys, that is now not only my knowledge, but your knowledge as well. So, without further ado, we're going to move into our fifth topic. We're going to have a short commercial break, followed by our first viewer-submitted topic of the week, and then we're going to breeze through the last 5 topics for this broadcast, guys, because we're about 55 minutes into the broadcast. Hopefully, we'll be concluding within the hour and a half mark here. Before we go, Paul in Long Beach, thank you so much for tuning in, bro. I know you have to get to Robservations channel. Thank you for dropping by. And let the fine folks at Robservations know we're broadcasting, we're live, we're ready for them. And give me a nice, give Jim Boyers a nice hello from me, Paul. Thank you so much, Paul. All right, fifth topic here. Rhiannon, are you ready? All right.
I'm ready.
Paul. It's coming to us, guys, from Deadline.
On the topic of
Rhiannon, are you ready? Coming to us from Deadline. Again, regarding Mike Flanagan. Dr. Sleep filmmaker Mike Flanagan is returning to Stephen King material on screen with Revival. There he is. That's Mike Flanagan right there. He's a sexy little sick cunt, ain't he? Mike Flanagan. All right, here we go. Deadline has confirmed that Dr. Sleep filmmaker, again, Mike Flanagan, how many times can I say that, is returning to the Stephen King world on screen with a feature adaptation of the author's 2013 novel, Revival. Flanagan is adapting with an option to direct, we hear. He'll be producing with Trevor Macy, his intrepid Pictures partner. Revival follows Reverend Charles Jacobs, a minister in Harlow, Maine, who shares a secret obsession with boy Jamie Morton. A draw so powerful, it has profound consequences, 5 decades after the shattering tragedy that turned the preacher against God, and long after his final, scathing sermon. Jamie grows to become a nomadic rock guitarist hooked on heroin and meets Charles Jacobs again. And their bond becomes a pact beyond the devil's devising. All right, so that sounds sexy, cool, drugs, rock and roll, and Satan? Come on.
Nothing sexier than a rock guitarist hooked on freaking heroin, right?
Right, yeah.
A nomadic one at it. That sounds like somebody I would have dated in my early 20s.
Right. Haven't we all dated a nomadic rock and roll heroin addict? Jesus, Lord.
Okay, besides the heroin part, I have dated quite a few nomadic rock guitarists, and I could have easily just like looked at them and been like, you could have started in a horror show, for sure. For sure.
Man, oh man. So, is this, presumably you're going to watch this, Rhiannon, and are you going to be more afraid of the premise in itself, in a vacuum, separate from your life experience, or is it the fact that you dated individuals like the descripted protagonists that will scare you the most?
I would not be surprised if they just like booked one of my ex-boyfriends as one of the leads in this. Like one of them is destined to lead in this.
Yeah, they're determined to get back to you. I'll get on TV if I have to get her attention. Damn it.
Oh gosh, that could very well happen. But no, I wish I had seen Dr. Sleep. That's something that I really wish I had seen. If I had seen, oh gosh, I'm gonna sound like an idiot here.
Have you seen The Shining?
The Shining. That's it. I haven't seen. Okay, so I saw The Shining. I saw like a long time ago.
Have you seen
I remember bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen Dr. Sleep, which apparently it has something to do with that.
Oh, 110%. And don't feel bad. My wife had actually did the reverse. She saw Dr. Sleep first and hadn't seen The Shining. I was like, what?
Really?
We need to course correct this right now, which we did. And yeah, she loved it, so I'm sure you'll love it too. Do yourself a flavor and see it.
Yeah. All about these horror movies, but I don't know how my husband and I missed that one. I think it was something along the lines of my husband didn't really want to see it in movie theaters, and I didn't really want to go by myself and be scared. Like I'm a confident woman. I can go see like Spider-Man or something like in theaters by myself. But a spooky movie, I need to be cuddled up next to somebody. Like I love scary movies, but I won't watch half of it. I will like hear it because I'm hiding somewhere in the movie theater.
Yeah, I feel you, especially in a dark room by yourself. So,
yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here for the halfway break. We're gonna have a quick commercial break. Grab yourself a drink, check your phone. We'll be back shortly. We're gonna wrap it up with our final 5 topics, and I think we're gonna briefly go slightly over our hour and a half mark. So, without further ado, guys, here's a message from our sponsors. Some of the finest whiskey made in the world. Jim Crow whiskey. Oh, sorry, not Jim Crow. Sorry. No, it's Delta Airlines this week. So take it away, Delta Airlines. Jim Crow whiskey.
Y'all be going on vacation? See, the thing is, if you about to be up out this biatch, check it. Peep Delta. We be flying all over this bitch. Let me ask you something. You finna raise up and get your travel on? From the interior to the exterior, you got to get your posterior in one of these big-ass planes. Dog, you lay in the cut straight sitting on your ass and getting your drink on and your snack on while we floss and fly this mofo all over this bitch. East Coast, West Coast, it don't matter. Nia will get you to your hoe and back lickety-split. No shit. Then you be back at your crib chilling with a flat spliff, thinking we was some crazy-ass angel. Hell, these fat, round, thick-ass vessels run up in the sky so deep, it be crying. Yeah, you thought it was rain. So bring a towel, because at Delta, it's laid out like that. Call one of these fly-ass Delta coochies, and make all them punk-ass co-workers of yours catch the vapors as you be off and up out. You going? We fly you there. You been? We done already flew up in there. We got you covered like a Jimmy hat. At Delta, we loves us some flying, and it be showing like a mother... Y'all be going on vacation? See, the thing is, if you about to be up out this biatch, check it. Peep Delta. We be flying all over this bitch. Let me ask you something. You finna raise up and get your travel on? From the interior to the exterior. You got to get your posterior in one of these big-ass planes. Dog, you lay in the cut straight sitting on your ass and getting your drink on and your snack on while we floss and fly this mofo all over this bitch. East Coast, West Coast, it don't matter. Nia will get you to your hoe and back lickety-split. No shit. Then you be back at your crib chilling with a flat spliff, thinking we was some crazy-ass angel. Hell, these fat, round, thick-ass vessels run up in the sky so deep, it be crying. Yeah, you thought it was rain. So bring a towel, because at Delta, it's laid out like that. Call one of these fly-ass Delta coochies, and make all them punk-ass co-workers of yours catch the vapors as you be off and up out. You going? We fly you there. You been? We done already flew up in there. We got you covered like a Jimmy hat. At Delta, we loves us some flying, and it be showing like a mother...
There I am. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for indulging me with a commercial break. Not once, but twice, but definitely not thrice. There I am. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for indulging me. Wow. With a commercial break. Not once, but twice. Jeez, this is so janky. I'm so sorry for the... I know I'm apologizing too much. Let's move forward into the viewer suggested topic of the week. Guys, I want to talk to you about this right now because I had mentioned it previously. We've got topics of the week, and they're so sexy. They're so awesome. They've come in here and there. Of course, some of them have been an overlap of topics we've covered, but we've got one for this week that I have not covered, and this is coming to us from one of our fine members, Mr. Orange of Code. You've also seen him sometimes here in the live chat, known as Storm Shadow, and he says to us, you should talk about this on the next podcast. And this is regarding some of the, at this point, this is a rumor that is not confirmed by any independent or trade magazine outlets, but presumably, considering the fact, a couple things here, guys. This news, or rather rumor, broke out about 2018 or 2019 regarding Karen Gillan, most notably famous for playing a role in the Guardians of the Galaxy as Nebula, is being eyed for starring in the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. Now, obviously, I don't think she would be a Jack Sparrow-esque character, or playing Jack Sparrow in our 2020 politically correct context as a female playing a man who is not gendered. But I think she may be playing a female lead in a reboot. So, interesting here. I do have it queued up from the Diz Insider website. And of course, you can see it here on screen. Let's move this bad boy over here. Wow, this is so ghetto. So sorry, guys. Oh, hey, look at that. I'm in outer space. Okay. This is coming to us from Diz Insider. Pirates of the Caribbean reboot moving forward with a female lead. Back in 2018, reports surfaced that Disney was set to reboot their blockbuster franchise, Pirates of the Caribbean. Since then, fans have been wondering, what would that mean for Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow? Well, I can't say I expect him to return. According to the insider Daniel Rickman, the studio is in fact going to reboot and are currently looking for a female lead. And one name at the top of Disney's list to lead the reboot is Avengers Endgame and Jumanji: The Next Level star Karen Gillan. As of now, of course, as I've stated, it is unknown if the actress has had any formal talks with the studio, but the studio is definitely interested. So, interesting news here that has broke. It does continue to say that though Depp's involvement has yet to be addressed by Disney, this is definitely indeed a reboot, and as so, it is unlikely that he returns. Back in 2018, president of Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Productions, Sean Bailey, spoke with The Hollywood Reporter regarding the reboot and avoided the question of Depp's involvement. Here's what he had to say. Well, we want to bring in a new energy and a new vitality. I love the Pirates movies, but part of the reason Paul and Red are so interesting is that we wanted to give it a kick in the pants, and that's what I've tasked them with. I'm not sure why he's speaking in that voice, but let's just assume he is. So, Rhiannon, you've heard me speak about this. What are your thoughts on this? First, I want to know about the reboot in of itself. Should it star a Jack Sparrow-led reboot, either starring Johnny Depp or someone else playing the same character? Or should this reboot, should it happen, star Karen Gillan as a female lead or as a maybe politically correct male lead played by a woman?
I mean, I love her as an actress. I think she has really great comedic timing, especially, and you saw that in not Jurassic, what am I saying? In Jumanji.
Jumanji Park.
There's a redhead in Jurassic Park, and then there's a redhead in Jumanji. No, Jurassic Park was not funny. But in Jumanji, I thought she was hysterical. So, I mean, she's a great female lead, but I'm sorry, but anything with Pirates of the Caribbean, first of all, I think Pirates of the Caribbean she's a great female lead, but some people are gonna not like this, but I feel like Pirates of the Caribbean just needs to stop, because I love the first few movies, and then I just kind of lost interest. I love Disney, and I love Pirates of the Caribbean, but I just feel like, especially without Johnny Depp, come on, without Jack Sparrow, I don't know how that's going to play out, but I don't know. I really wish that Disney would kind of leave that behind and move forward with other projects rather than Pirates of the Caribbean. But, I mean, if you're going to do a reboot of Pirates of the Caribbean, Karen Gillan is that how you say her name?
I think so. Jillian, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
Tomato. Hey, I'm walking here.
She's Scottish, so I don't know how to say it.
Oh, is she Scottish? Is she really?
She is.
Is she one of those who speak like this, but then when you hear them on screen, they're like, "Hello, I speak English. I speak American."
She's very Scottish. Yeah, when you hear her interviews, but so her American accent is flawless. I can't do a Scottish accent. It's insane. But she's. I don't know. I think she's a phenomenal actress. I mean, you saw it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, true.
She's great, and I think she can hold her own. But I'm sorry, I'm done with Pirates. Let's move forward. I think we need new content.
Yeah, Rhiannon, you mirror my thoughts exactly. I hate to be cynical about this. And as a side note, in the chat, and I just happened to catch it. Sometimes I catch your comments despite the fact my name is not highlighted. G-Wolf says, yeah, they should have stopped with 2 movies. And I think that's relevant because you're saying this. My thoughts mirror this sentiment as well. I don't think I've seen any of the Pirates after the second film. It was kind of like beating a dead horse at that point. And provided that I was much younger when these films came out, and I was already done with it, and the movie landscape at that point was not as saturated as it is now with so many big blockbuster IPs. At that time we didn't have a fully developed Marvel Cinematic Universe. We did not have a DC universe. We did not have the awesome powerhouse weights from other content creators, studio producers, in the vein of like a Fox Studios, or formerly Fox, now 20th Century Pictures, with the X-Men series, etc. Really, in theaters. We did not have AMC A-List either. You had to buy your movie tickets per film to watch any release. So in that context, I had already dropped out. And moving forward now in this modern landscape, I already had checked out. So it's interesting to me to see that they have still the desire to reboot a franchise without depth, in fact. Now,
exactly, and we all know the obvious, elephant in the room as to why they decided to drop him.
What do you think?
Or why he has been losing so many roles lately. I mean, with the whole Amber Heard situation.
Yes.
But it's very unfortunate, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go there.
Okay, go there.
It's very, very, very unfortunate that somebody can just come out and say that she was attacked like that by Johnny Depp. And even his former girlfriend and his daughter both defended him. And now it's coming out, apparently, that Amber Heard was the one who attacked him. And in doing so, it's by talking about, Johnny Depp attacked me. It killed his career. And I think that's very, very unfortunate. I mean, I have heard also that Johnny Depp has yelled at people on film sets. I don't know what the real situation is, but I just think that it's really sad that, this whole, what is it called? It's like a kill-off culture. Like, when somebody, just hears something about a celebrity, it just trends to, get rid of this particular singer, actor, whatever, without knowing all the facts. And it's just really unfortunate that I think that that's really just put a bad taste in people's mouth.
Interesting insight. Definitely relevant. Yeah. Definitely on point, Rhiannon. I mirror that sentiment as well. So for the sake of time, I'm going to forego my thoughts on that. But thank you for informing us with that. Yeah, definitely.
I had to bring that up since they're not thinking of bringing him back. So.
I'm impressed because I had failed to even consider that. But that is probably a huge determining factor in the studio executive's decision to cast or recast Johnny Depp for this money-making franchise. The fact that they'd forego such a sure bet on casting Depp in terms of bringing box office really speaks volumes about how serious the situation is and what the impact it would be on not only Depp's prospects but also for the momentum forward in this franchise. So. Great. All right. We're going to move beyond that, guys. We're going to move into our sixth topic here. And of course, this is coming to us from the fine people at... And I'm really excited to talk to you about this, Rhiannon. Variety. This is regarding Christopher Nolan's Tenet. And also Mulan as a side tangent. I'm less excited about that. But I know we're both space fans. And we're both Interstellar fans. We loved what Christopher Nolan did with Interstellar. I remember in 2014, this was one of the biggest blockbusters we just were salivating over. So anything regarding Christopher Nolan, my boner is at red rocket level meters. And I'm hoping the audience here is ready to ingest, not my red rocket, but this news on this here. Because this is really big, guys. Most of you are sheltered at home, right? It's been 2 months now. Not to get political, okay, but I'm totally basically disregarding this whole shelter-in-place nonsense, and I'm ready to get my fat black ass into a movie theater seat, and I want to watch some goddamn movies already. I'm tired. I'm ready for it, man. The data is in. Anyhow, Christopher Nolan.
We need more drive-in. Come on.
Oh,
that's when drive-in theaters
right?
Be a thing.
How funny is that? That's something as antiquated as a drive-in theater, much like the analog record of yesteryear, is now kind of the groundwork has been laid for it to make a comeback.
Yes. I mean, the boomer generation is on to something, right? With like the drive-in theater, you have your own privacy in your car. I think that should come back.
Yeah, right. You can get freaky with your significant other, and I mean, not say that wouldn't stop me in the theater. While watching Mulan, yeah, that Mushu man really getting me up, bro. That wouldn't stop me in the theater. Yes.
No, I'm so pumped to see Mulan that I would be taking my husband and just moving him aside and be like, no, I have to watch this. That was like my favorite Disney princess, man.
Oh, really?
Well, it's not a princess. My husband and just
warrior princess or something to that effect, right?
Like my favorite Disney. Yeah, exactly. And she doesn't need to like marry a guy at the end.
No. Yeah.
I love her. I was so pumped to see this. But I feel like it was destined to fail at the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about this, I think, on 2 or 3 separate occasions on previous broadcasts. I won't go over that, but there is a lot to what you're saying, Rhiannon, about that subject specifically. Let's move it towards what the nature of this article is describing, and I think one of the biggest parts I'd like to cover is regarding Tenet, Christopher Nolan's newest film. It is slated for a July release date, and unlike every other film that was slated for an original release date earlier this year, before the pandemic struck, the lockdown was set in place, and as a consequence, all films have been pushed forward into the later this year or delayed indefinitely, yada, yada, yada. Tenet and Mulan have held strong for their summer release dates. Now, Mulan being the exception, it was originally changed from, I believe, March 25th to August or late July. Tenet was originally slated for July and has remained as such. The article does...
It's now July 24th.
24th? It couldn't come a day sooner.
And then for Tenet, it's July 17th.
17th. Okay.
I remember.
Good to know.
Yeah.
It could come out today, and I would see it 10 times. Here we go. Okay. Hollywood movies are staggeringly expensive. To have any hope of success, they need to open on a vast number of screens, not just in America, but worldwide. If they open on only a fraction of that number of screens, they have no chance of recouping their budgets, let alone of making a profit. So until those screens, not some of them, but all of them, are up and running, the idea of opening a major Hollywood movie in the midst of the coronavirus would be tantamount to consigning it to failure. America is now trying to reopen, one small step at a time. And movie theaters, like any other business, will do the same. But if theater chains open with baby steps, which is inevitable, then how can the product they sell, high cost, high-profile Hollywood movies, be part of the process? Viewed in that light, the announcements made by Warner Brothers and Disney that those studios are sticking to relatively early release dates for 2 major films, Christopher Nolan's Tenet, still scheduled for July 17th, as Rhiannon has informed me, and Nicky Carell's live-action remake of Mulan, now set for July 24th. This amounts to a revolution, a kind of declaration of war against the conundrum. Tenet has a reported budget of $205 million. Mulan, a budget set at least $200 million. According to the profit model just described, these movies will have an uphill battle at the box office, to put it mildly. Now here's where it gets really juicy, guys. Here's the money shot, as they say in the industry. So why are they opening? It's likely that their respective studios have outlined a radically revamped model for profitability. One based not only on the mythic blast-off of record-setting opening weekends, which isn't close to possible, by the way, but one that's much longer term, based on the idea that films will play on a platform release schedule over a slowly unfolding period, and will possibly collect a greater percentage of their revenue than usual from the ancillary markets, VOD, DVD, etc. VOD is video on demand for you laymen, boomers, or stay-at-home moms. Love you, Mom. Yet it's not just about the money. According to reports, while Warner Brothers made the corporate decision to release Tenet, the company did so after the passionate lobbying of Nolan, who in recent years has become the film industry's most dynamic public advocate for the movie theater experience. At the present moment, the movie industry needs to be guarded, fostered, and enhanced. It needs to be saved. Yet too many shaky variables now pose an existential threat to it. The rise of streaming, the already rickety financial shape of the exhibition business, and the monkey wrench that the pandemic has thrown into the middle of all this. For viewers that care, the films that need to open in theaters must represent the seductive religious compulsion of moviegoing. Thank you, movie gods. The beautiful, oversized dream of it. And that's what Tenet and Mulan do. Their studios know this. In a sense, you could say that on the bottom line level, the two studios are taking a hit for the team. Taking a hit for the dream. It's a double entendre, by the way. They're putting these movies out there ahead of everyone else to jumpstart the act of moviegoing. And to say to American viewers, come on in. The water's fine, y'all. Even though you have to wear a mask, sit a seat or two away from others and wait longer than you would have to before. Oh, God. Have you been shopping recently? It's atrocious! For the picture to show up at a theater near you. I think that is the end of the article, guys. There's a lot more in there, but that is the summary of which. Rhiannon, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the whole nature of movie-going experience moving forward despite the handicap placed upon us by the lockdown and the pandemic? What are your thoughts on the whole nature of movie-going experience moving forward despite
it's really sad, especially all these movie theater employees who've lost their jobs to this. But especially now, like, these movies that have invested, or these production companies that have invested so much into these blockbuster movies, and now they have to hold off and wait until they release them. Whereas, again, we shouldn't have gotten rid of the drive-in movie theater. I think we should bring that
message.
Back for sure. But like, I'm not like a movie executive, or I don't know how it would play out. But I feel like if they diversified and maybe had more on-demand options, as well as the drive-in theater, maybe they could start releasing movies that way. Because I'll be honest, like, this might sound pessimistic, but I don't see people running to the movie theater as soon as this is over, because like right now, restaurants have reopened here in Florida and they're at like 50% capacity. Like,
Jesus, and that's Florida. They don't give a F.
Yeah, like right now. Right, and that's Florida. Like, we don't care. Like, I care, but a lot of people don't care. And
they don't give a F.
So, I mean, just saying that restaurants, like, well, let's go pick up food last night, and we asked the restaurant, how have you guys been doing? And they said, well, it's still at like 50% capacity. Like, people are not coming in, and that's a really popular restaurant here in this area. So I can't even imagine what's going to happen when they say, okay, everyone start going to movie theaters now. I don't see people packing in there. So I can't even imagine what's going to happen.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Rhiannon, it's very funny you mentioned that, because that kind of like was going to be a little bit of like what I was going to talk about. Now, I'm very much, I have my opinions. Huh? Rhiannon, it's very
I stole that from you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Great. We're mirroring each other. We're well informed to varying degrees involved in the whole landscape of entertainment. We're mirroring each other. Without getting too political, I have my opinions, my thoughts on the whole process about this whole coronavirus, the collateral damage it has incited upon every facet of economy, and most especially movie-going, movie fandom, movie entertainment. The collateral damage it has incited upon. Even if I am willing right now to go to AMC theaters here in San Francisco, sit my fine little booty next to my sexy, beautiful wife, and watch 10 movies in a row, having sex in the theater, buying 10 bags of popcorn, just having a grand old gay old time, I recognize that that is not the majority of Americans. And in fact, more people, for good reason, others for not so good reason, not to their own fault, some to their own fault, are reticent to come back to theaters. And, you know, as the old phrase goes, better safe than sorry. And to that end, while I admire and I applaud the studio's bold-hearted approach to this, to launching and inciting the flame that is, or inciting the spark that will be the flame of reigniting our passionate movie fandom and our movie experience and exhibition willingness. Yeah, I am concerned that majority of Americans are not so ready to do so, and for good reason, for the most part. So it's interesting to see how Warner Brothers in particular, and Disney as a secondary point, will react or perhaps backtrack on their initial statement of releasing for summer slates in July, of which we will have confirmation by the end of this week, as the studio heads have said themselves. They will confirm whether or not this will be the plan. But by and large, I think ultimately, in some capacity, we do have to get back to some semblance of regular operations for various reasons. So, Rhiannon, I want you to touch back onto what I've said here if you have anything else. And guys, of course, in the live chat, your comments, your thoughts, highlight my name at MoviePOP. I'll answer on screen. And for those of you watching after this broadcast, comment down below. So, Rhiannon, take it away, girl.
So, on that note, before this, I watched a quick interview that was done, oh gosh, maybe it was like a few weeks ago. I think it was the CEO of AMC Theaters, and somebody asked him the same thing, like, what do you see in the future for movie theaters, for AMC? He brought up the same thing that I was thinking of, and that you've probably been thinking of, is like the whole drive-in theater thing, or even like on-demand movies, you know, and offering, like, when people do want to start going back to the movie theaters, I think that, like, on the day that it's released in theaters, again, I'm not a professional at this, but just an idea is that I'm putting out there is, when it comes out in theaters, like when, I don't know, Mulan, because I'm dying to see that, comes out in theaters, they should also put it out on demand as well. So for those people who don't feel comfortable going out of their homes, they can still watch it.
You are treading on dangerous waters, but I will follow up on that later.
I probably am. But I mean, still watch it. I'm trying to think of like how many people will probably stay at home, considering what I'm observing here in Florida. And at least giving people that option. But that's an option that I've always felt like should exist, because there are, besides COVID-19, besides everything that's going on right now, there are a lot of homebound people that I've always thought of. Like, whenever like a movie gets released, I'm like, man, I feel so bad for those people who can't leave their homes and they have to wait until this comes on demand anyway. Yeah. So like, COVID-19 aside, I think that should be like another alternative where they offer this on demand as well, like on the day it comes out in movie theaters. Personally, for me, to make it fair for everyone.
I definitely agree with you. I think there are outside forces, unfortunately, that kind of inhibit this kind of, at least at present, as it stands, as long as there's a financial incentive to prove or to direct movie theaters in doing otherwise. I think we did cover this on some other broadcasts, and I'm not sure if you're aware, Rhiannon. Universal Pictures, actually, as on the onset of this whole pandemic, have decided to unilaterally make a statement, and they released Trolls World Tour in March exclusively to video on demand. Mind you, this was done with the agreement and conversation with the largest exhibitors in the country, most notably AMC, Regal Entertainment, Cinemark, etc., that they would be doing this as a one-off due to the pandemic. And then the box office results came in, and Universal had green-tinted eyes. They saw those dollar signs coming in, and they said, you know what? maybe we should continue to do this moving forward. Release our films simultaneously in theaters and online. And to which AMC and Regal and other exhibitors said a definitive, with the might and power of Thor's hammer, smacked down that statement and said a definitive no, not only no, but also, should you do this, we are going to ban all of your films from exhibition in our theaters immediately, effective immediately, until you walk back these statements. And that was big news these past weeks. So
I did not know that. Thank
oh
you
yeah,
for filling me in on that. I had no idea. But yeah, I mean, those
huge
movies
beef.
are going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, and I mean, trust me, I hear what you're saying, and I think probably you are correct. Future forward, and there is a place for that kind of distribution model, especially for people who are handicapped, who can't get outside, or maybe are epileptic,
Yeah. Yeah. I had a best friend who had leukemia, and she was stuck, in a hospital bed for a very long time. And whenever a movie came out, she was so sad that she couldn't go see it. And obviously she was stuck in a hospital bed, but also her immunity was compromised, and she literally could not leave her house for a while. And she eventually was able to return back home.
Yeah.
So things like that, like seeing her crying because she can't go see a movie that she really wanted to see, I think COVID-19 aside, I think that we should also be considerate of those people.
Right.
But then how do you limit, if you're going to buy a $20 movie, you're going to buy Mulan for $20 on demand,
Yikes.
how do you know that you're not inviting 20 people to come over for a watch party? So I get that.
Right.
And I get how movie theaters need to, sustain themselves and pay their employees. But I'm sorry, guys, movie theaters also charge a little bit too much for things.
Right. Yeah, it's a very complex and complicated issue. I would love to more than break it down here for you, for all of our viewers as well. I'd love to have a discussion about that. But guys, we are approaching about the hour and a half marker here. I know, time flies, doesn't it? So here's what we're going to do.
We're having fun. I hope you guys are fun.
Right? Guys, okay, let's do this. Since I'm kind of ad-libbing this right now. In the live chat, for those of you watching right now. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I think 4 topics we can cover that'll probably take us, geez, we're having such great chemistry here, maybe another half an hour to cover and talk about our thoughts on it and include your thoughts on it as well in the live chat and the comments. Or I can summarize those 4 topics, and we'll wrap this bad boy up in 5 minutes. So whoever's getting the live chat here and tells us what to do is what we'll do. So 2 options again. Do we continue wrapping up the next 4 topics, one of which is a bonus topic, individually, or do we wrap it up in a summary and close this out in 5 minutes? Let me know in the live chat, guys, right now. I'm going to wait for your responses. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to remind you, send me a letter to dj@moviepop.org. I mean, I really want some sexy letters. I mean, if you want to solicit yourself to me, as long as you do it within the context of it being movie related, let's get sexual. But if not, you send me a topic of the week suggestion, as Orange of Code and Storm Shadow have done. Send me your viewer letters. Take your time. Write out lengthy letters about whatever's on your mind. I'd prefer it to be movie related, but of course, if it's not, that's fine. We've had fantastic submissions, most notably from Mark London, Jordy Lyons, that detail their favorite films, detail their thoughts on the movie industry at present, how it's affecting them, and it's really great to read on screen. So guys, remember, you can do that by submitting it to dj@moviepop.org, or you can hit me up online at Real Movie Pop, on Twitter at MoviePop Official, on Instagram, send me a DM. I will be happy to accept either of those submissions there. So guys, I'm looking at the live chat here. It looks like we've got, hey, Mr. Ralph Reyes tuning in, saying, keep going. And then we also got G-Wolf here mirroring that, keep going. So you know what, guys? Pop out the bottle of Viagra, pop out your bottle of Chris. We're going to keep this bad boy going. Rhiannon, you got your Viagra? You got your...
Like, I want to talk about these.
Oh, trust me, I can talk all day about this, but...
Yes.
I don't want to bore our viewers here. So, okay, looks like we've got a definitive yes. Let's move through these. We won't waste their time, of course. Rhiannon, Ralph, thank you so much for tuning in, dude. Guys, if you haven't, give a great welcome. It looks like we got a new viewer here, Ralph Reyes. He says, keep going. So let's do that. G-Wolf says, get the Jim Crow out. Rhiannon, I'll have to fill you in on the details about this whole Jim Crow joke, but... there is some context. I will show you later, okay? G-Wolf says, get the Jim Crow out. Rhiannon, all right, guys, so let's move forward to, we've got, let's see here, 4 more topics. There is some context. The 7th of which is coming to us from Collider. And this is a little too large. All right, here we go. Boom! Collider exclusive says, sorry, I need to reformat this. Guys, again, please forgive the janky production value. I had to do so much work. I've been up since 5 this morning working on this, and still, it's not to the level I need it to be at. But don't worry, Rhiannon and I will be working on it, so without further ado, let's move forward. Exclusive from Collider, National Treasure says the Disney Plus series is in development. Collider got Jerry Bruckheimer to open up his book of secrets and give a new update on the National Treasure franchise, which we learned was not only including National Treasure 3, the film, but a Disney Plus TV series is now in development. So again, Rhiannon, and please, we'll talk about this later, but here we go. Disney rebooting itself. We talked about Pirates of the Caribbean again. Looks like we've got National Treasure coming up with a Nick Cage-less Disney series. So here we go. Here's a quote. We're certainly working on one National Treasure for streaming, and we're working on one for the big screen. Hopefully they'll both come together and we'll bring you another National Treasure. But they're both very active. And one for Disney Plus is much younger cast. It's the same concept, but a younger cast. The one for the theatrical will be the same cast. I don't know why he sounds like a molester reading this, but he does, so bear with me. National Treasure 3, guys, is still in the scripting process, according to Bruckheimer, but the Disney Plus series is actually further along in development, so... I really wish the opposite was true, that the movie was further along and the Disney Plus series was behind, but hey, here we go. The film version is being written right now. The television version is in process, but we have a pilot script done and an outline for future episodes. He's got a breathing issue, apparently. Somebody get this guy some albuterol. Okay, guys, Rhiannon. I thought you were a fan of National Treasure. Am I incorrect in this assumption? Get this guy some albuterol.
You're very correct. I love National Treasure. It reminds me of kind of like Dan Brown's writing with like Angels and Demons and Da Vinci Code. Like, it's educational. You know what I mean? But it's more like, instead of like Europe, it's like here in the United States, and you're kind of like, I mean, it's fabricated, but it's kind of educational. It's intriguing. But again, I'm going to get on that train of like, we need some original content here in the film industry. Actually, I'm going to tell you something. This is funny. When I was working for Screen Gems, and a producer called me into his office and said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I want to be a producer. I want to produce, original content." He's like, "That's never going to happen."
Damn.
Because, right? He's like, "That's never going to happen." I was like, "What? Am I that?" And he's like, "No. Like, original content is just few and far between, because like if we can prove that." Something is going to, do really well, we're going to beat it until it's dead. And it's just so, it's so frustrating that original content is not something that Hollywood likes to play around with. And it's just so, a lot of times, so they go back to old things that did really well. And I feel like with National Treasure, if maybe they had come up with like a third movie years ago, like maybe a few years after the second. I don't know about that. I mean, I love National Treasure, but Do you know if Nick Cage is going to play in the third one? Because I know that he's probably not going to be in the TV series because it's for like younger people. But is he going to be in the third one?
Yeah, according to reports, yes, it is or I don't know if confirmed, but I think more or less confirmed that Cage will be in the third one. Not the Disney Plus though.
Is he going to be in the third one? Yeah. No,
according to reports, yes, it is
I love National Treasure, and I'm a sucker for it. So just like Star Wars, I'm probably going to head to the theater and watch it, like depending on how good the trailer is. But
shut up and take my money.
Yeah, as much as I preach against it, against like saying like, oh, like don't redo this movie or don't come up with sequels. If the trailer's good, I might do it. And knowing me, I love National Treasure. So.
All right, guys. You know what? I'm gonna mirror Rhiannon's thoughts here. I'm totally on board with what she's saying. No more to say about that. So for the sake of time, we'll move forward into our next topic, which actually is tangentially related. And I'm really excited about this. If you have not heard, so for the sake of time, drum roll, please. This is coming to us from The Hollywood Reporter. And Nicolas Cage, baby. That crazy mother lover, Nicolas Cage, is set to star in a Joe Exotic film. A scripted series. So, not only, before I even read the article, guys, we talked about earlier in the broadcast here about capturing lightning in a bottle. This, my friends, is capturing lightning in a bottle. Because you name me one better actor to play Joe Exotic, one actor who's as crazy and as noteworthy as Nicolas Cage, because you name me one better actor to play the seminal lead in what is basically a meme version of television, Joe Exotic. Wow. So let's talk about it, guys. Here it comes.
Perfect casting.
Nicolas Cage is headed to television as Joe Exotic, the subject of Netflix breakout docuseries Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. Cage will play Joe in an 8-episode scripted series from CBS Television Studios and Imagine Television. It is based on a Texas Monthly story published in 2019. The Cage-led series is the second scripted project based on the Joe Exotic in the works. Saturday Night Live star Kate McKinnon is set to executive produce and play Baskin in a show from Universal Content Productions based on Wonderly's Joe Exotic podcast. The project has been in the works since November of 2019. As for Cage, the series will mark a new career milestone, an active entry into television. The actor's recent projects have largely included a string of crime thrillers and action features from international financiers. But he has continued to work in a variety of Hollywood projects, including lending his voice to the Oscar winner Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and starring in Lionsgate's meta action comedy, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where he will be playing a fictionalized version of himself. We covered this in a couple of months ago in the broadcast. I thought that was so meta, so great, and so Nick Cage. So, Rhiannon, I lived in Tampa for some period of time. You're currently in Florida. I will say forthrightly, I had seen signage for Big Cat Rescue all over, had no idea what the hell that was. And when I watched this docuseries, I had no idea. I thought it was all pure, all kosher, all good. And then when I watched this Netflix series, I was like, wait a tick, I know that. What the F? So, to that end, Rhiannon.
And you don't know this. You do not know this. So I'm going to drop a bomb on you. I interviewed Carol Baskin.
Get the what?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Again, my career is weird, right? I went through a phase where I went to South Africa. I fell in love with South Africa. I was like, I'm going to freaking move to South Africa. And I was going to go to the University of Cape Town and get my master's degree. And my thesis was going to be, does human interaction affect the sustainability of the African lion? Because why not? Why am I not going to do that as a thesis? So I am, applying for University of Cape Town, and it's part of my application. I had to interview people for the background for my thesis. And one of those individuals was Carol Baskin, and she went crazy on me.
Of course. Oh wow.
She was so upset because I was looking at both sides. I was interviewing people who believe in human interaction with the African lion, like Kevin Richardson, who's called the Lion Whisperer in South Africa, and also some other places like Wild Things in State City. And then I interviewed her. She was the only person who I knew immediately in this vicinity who is severely against human interaction with cats, which is strange because of big cat rescue. You kind of are interacting with the cats anyway. I mean, they're in cages like 5 feet away from you. So anyway, when I was asking her, some questions, I told her that I had interacted with lions in Africa. I had volunteered for a program in Africa where I was actually hands-on with the big cat. She lost it on me. So when I heard that they were doing a series on that, I had to watch the first few episodes. I couldn't keep watching because it was a little out there, but she's categorically insane. I'm sorry if she sees this, but
there goes all your future interview requests right down the poop scooper.
I'm never interviewing her again. No, she's went ballistic on me. So yeah, no. I don't know if she remembers me, but honey, you you went nuts on me.
Dude, and Rhiannon, I'm so happy you mentioned that because honestly, when I'm watching a series, it was like I sympathize with either Joe or Carol or Jeff Lowe. And of course, as they continue to speak and I hear more backstory, I'm like, no, they're crazy. But then, they go to the next, interviewee, and they dispel topics about them, and I'm like, oh, okay, I sympathize with this person and judge the other person as crazy. And it was like a constant toss-up between sympathy and casting judgment, and I didn't know who was what was what. So because I know you, and guys, because you know me, I'm honest and I keep it real. We can, by extension, through me and through Rhiannon, understand that. What did you call Carol Baskin? Because I know you. And guys, because you know me,
what did I call her? Nuts? I don't know.
There we go. Nuts. She's a loose.
Yeah, no, she's. I mean, the crazy cat lady, right? This is the crazy cat lady, times a million. As we've seen in the Netflix show, everything that she owns is leopard print or cat print of something. She doesn't own a shirt like this. She's head to toe in kitty everything. Not Hello Kitty, just weird pattern kitty. And her thoughts, what really baffled me was I came to her for just educational purposes, saying why do you believe that human interaction affects the sustainability of the African lion? And she yelled at me and said that I needed to educate myself on this. I'm like, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm asking you for your opinion. And she wouldn't really give me her opinion other than just yelling at me. So
yikes.
That was a great experience. Yeah. But
okay. Good to know. Well, guys, you had it here. Breaking it.
I had to briefly mention how come Nicolas Cage, remember how he turned down Aragorn from Lord of the Rings? He goes from Aragorn to Tiger King. Do you find the humor in that at all? Iconic Aragorn. Remember how he turned down Aragorn to this?
Okay, so I told you before we recorded, Rhiannon. I told you before we recorded. I don't put on airs. I don't state anything I'm not aware of. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. And my wife is watching especially, so she knows. I have not seen any Lord of the Rings outside of the first film, and I saw that when it debuted in theaters in 1999, so I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, I love Lord of the Rings. Okay, so Viggo Mortensen, phenomenal actor, he played Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, but initially Nicolas Cage was offered the role. It's this iconic role.
Okay.
The king.
I was like, how did I not know Nick Cage was in Lord of the Rings? I would have watched it if that was the case.
he was offered the part. Yeah, like a bunch of actors were offered different roles and they dropped out, and then that's how Viggo Morrison got it and whatnot. But I'm so glad Viggo got it rather than Nick Cage, because Nick Cage would have brought it.
Yeah, absolutely.
New level. So I think Nick Cage is best suited for Tiger King, but I just think it's really funny how he turned down Aragorn and now he's Tiger King.
Absolutely. Right.
Good. Good
Okay.
there.
Yeah. Guys, I've got G Wolf here. He is commenting. I want to move to some of the viewer comments as they come in. He says Nick Cage as Joe Exotic will be gold. And dude, I could not say it any better. Pure gold. Solid gold. Yes. I could. Lightning in a bottle. Again, I think we've struck lightning in a bottle at least twice, maybe thrice on this broadcast for some of the topics we covered. Yeah. I mean, do you agree with that sentiment, Rhiannon?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, what? Like Nick Cage, like already buys expensive, crazy stuff, like an island, and I mean, he's bought some really weird stuff from what I've heard. In fact, he's gone like in severe debt over the things that he's purchased.
Right.
So I see him totally as Joe Exotic. But oh gosh, what's the actor's name who played Joe Dirt? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, James Spader.
Right. Yeah, so a lot of people wanted him to play it.
That could be good too.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted him to play it, but then he was like, yeah, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
but
no, I think Nick Cage is...
Nick Cage was like, he's crazy.
He's crazy.
He's like a good crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
think he
too
would do
perfect.
really well. Now he has the hairline for it too. Like, I think he's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder like how much of a comedy this will be. I really am curious.
I would really hope they don't do a direct like slapstick kind of comedy. Take it more serious, but you know, obviously, as serious as the subject matter actually was. I mean, what we saw on screen, for the most part, as I understand, was all real, and in and of itself, it was so real and crazy that, and ridiculous, that it was funny. So if you do it within the vein of that, I think.
And they should do it like an Office style, like The Office meets Tiger King, where they like
mockumentary style.
I think they should do it like that. I think that would be genius.
I think so.
Yeah.
Either way, I think we've got gold on our hands, guys. So.
But they got to jump on it fast, though, or the Tiger King train will leave. That's just my opinion. Because if they do this 5 years from now, like people will be like, well, Tiger King 5 years.
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. The got to strike when the iron's hot. So.
Yeah.
Guys, we got one more comment here. I'm going to forego our other topics, and I'm going to close out with our bonus topic, which should have been our 11th topic for today, but I think it's big news, and I'm a big nerd, and it involves Star Wars, so I think we've got our collective boners popping, and our cooches moist and ready for the news. So before we do that, let's talk about our viewer comment here. G-Wolf again says, you need to set aside a weekend and watch Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. It's only about 20. Okay, so it's kind of, he's saying this kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's only about 20 hours long, he says. So let me set aside a whole weekend, which would approximately be 20 hours between 2 days. Yeah, 2 days worth. You know, between having wild morning and evening sex and enjoying my weekend with my wife, that might take the back burner. We'll see.
No, you can do it and watch Lord of the Rings. Like, it's such a turn on just to watch it while.
Wow, what a fantastic idea. Why did I not think of that? We're going to be getting Freaky the Frodo.
We'll see.
You hear that, babe? We're going to get Freaky the Frodo. Wow, what a fantastic idea.
Especially when his mouth starts foaming when he gets attacked by a spider. Oh, wait, you don't know that part. I'm sorry. You hear that, babe?
All right, guys. I'm gonna close out here. We got on this topic here. We got one more from Mr. Ralph Reyes. Ralph says, "I agree with G Wolf and MoviePOP. You have to spend some time watching Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit." Well, you know what, Ralph? I'm gonna take your recommendation, G Wolf's recommendation, under advisement. and combine it with Rhiannon's recommendation, and we're gonna have a sex-filled weekend watching The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, totally geek style. Who knew that nerds can get laid in 2020? Combine it with Rhiannon's recommendation, and
go at it. My husband and I love Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Like, okay, The Hobbit's not as good as Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
And a lot of you guys might not agree why, but I don't like the CGI so much in The Hobbit.
Oh, you know what's funny that you mentioned that? There's a reason behind that too. It was actually shot in 60 frames per second. So I understand it kind of looks a little bit like weird in The Hobbit. Oh, you know what's funny that you mentioned that? There's a reason behind that too.
Well, I don't know. I also love makeup artistry, and
I understand
I like that so much in The Hobbit. Whereas the makeup artistry is phenomenal in Lord of the Rings, and then it was filmed in New Zealand. Like, come on. I mean, it's gorgeous. Like, it's not a green screen. It's not like filmed in a studio. Like, it's actually like they took all the props and everything in the middle of nowhere. And
you cannot beat that. I mean, no matter how good CGI gets, and maybe this will change in 20, 30 years time, but at present, I mean, look at the practical effects from like late 70s, early 80s, moving forward to today's date. If they're done well enough, they still hold up. And oftentimes than not, better than like the CGI we've seen in like the late 90s to the early 2000s, right?
Exactly. Like, I mean, still to this day, I mean, Lord of the Rings is a phenomenal film. It's kind of like a little dated now, but it's still phenomenal. The only place that I wish was real was like Rivendell. Like, exactly. Rivendell is stunning. Like, you know what I'm talking about when I say Rivendell?
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with some of.
Dated now, but it's still phenomenal.
I'm familiar with some of the names and all that, but in terms of any detailed plot threads, I'm not your guy on that.
Oh my gosh! Just please take a weekend with your wife, watch it, and we'll do like an entire segment on Lord of the Rings.
Okay, all right, we'll put it on the list. Seriously, my wife. I think my wife told me to watch it, so I need to get on it.
Yes. Yeah, and then you'll be speaking to me in Elven by that time.
All right. Let's put a postmark on that one. That's a great segue regarding practical effects into our next topic, guys. The topic we're going to close out here. Before I do that, though, I'd like to remind you guys, of course, for those of you just tuning in, especially Ralph, who just dropped in recently, submit me your letter for a topic of the week, and also a viewer letter to dj@moviepop.org. And of course, as we did in this broadcast and other previous broadcasts, I will be reading them on screen, talking about them with myself, or in the future with Rhiannon. And we'll dissect it, call you out, call you an idiot, or say, you know what, you are the next god amongst men, and where is your Bible, and how much money can I submit to you? I am ready to praise you. Either way, you've got to do it first by writing to me at dj@moviepop.org. So do that, and we'll get to you next weekend. That's Saturday, 12 p.m. on the broadcast. So guys, without further ado, we're going to move into our next and final topic. And this is coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter. For all you Star Wars nerds, that's me. Here we go. The Mandalorian. Temuera Morrison returns to Star Wars universe to play Boba Fett. Big news, an already big news week, especially for Star Wars, because we heard Robert Rodriguez. If you don't know him, he directed Battle Angel Alita, the Sin City franchise, From Dusk Till Dawn. Well, guess what? He's been pegged amongst other feature film directors for Mandalorian Season 2. And then the cherry on top, as we learned in the past 2 days, is that Temuera Morrison is returning to reprise his role as Boba Fett in The Mandalorian Season 2. Now, why is this interesting? Before I even get into it, if you haven't been watching The Mandalorian, you know this is set after the fall of the Empire and the onset of the New Republic. And as we know, well, Boba Fett died in Return of the Jedi. He was eaten by a Sarlacc pit. We all knew. Of course, if you follow the expanded universe, comics or novels or whatever, all of them alluding to either overtly or covertly, for lack of a better word, that Boba Fett indeed lived and escaped the Sarlacc pit, and now we have official confirmation from Disney in the words of this article from The Hollywood Reporter. So guys, let me read this to you. The Mandalorian is bringing a familiar helmet back to the Star Wars galaxy. Temuera Morrison, who played Jango Fett in 2002's Star Wars Attack of the Clones, will appear in Season 2 of the Disney Plus Star Wars series. Oh, man. Oh, that's all I highlighted. Okay, so I guess that is it. But you know what? I think I gave it enough of a hype. Rhiannon, how familiar are you with Star Wars, and how much does this news resonate with you?
When I was little, I was obsessed with Lord of the Rings. Oh my God, with Lord of the Rings is still on my mind, obviously. With Star Wars, especially so I didn't grow up on like the '70s versions. I grew up on the ones with like Queen Amidala with like Natalie Portman. Like I really loved those songs, and then surprisingly, I just saw the last one just yesterday because my husband didn't want to see it in theaters. Like my husband loves Star Wars, but because he loves Star Wars, but because the new ones have been so repetitive, I guess.
Oh yeah,
that's what he says.
He's right.
The plot line is so similar, right? To the older ones. He's like, I'm not giving them any more of my money. But you know, I got Disney Plus just to watch The Mandalorian, and I noticed that The Last Jedi was on. I was like, oh my God, I have to watch this one. And I'm sorry, it's like my new favorite thing is I love The Last Jedi. I love that movie.
Yes.
But The Mandalorian, like, I watched that entire season in like one day.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. All right.
So good. And it was Baby Yoda that kept me hooked. So unless they have like 500 Baby Yodas in the next one, like I don't care who plays whoever, just as long as we got more babies, more Baby Yodas. That's all that I care about. Unless they have like 500 Baby Yodas.
This is great news, as you said, for all Star Wars fans alike. I cannot believe my eyes. I have such... Guys, if you haven't heard or known about this is great news. Disney Plus has this series called The Mandalorian. That's what they open their streaming service with. Obviously, you've heard of it. But what I really mean to say is, if you don't know, they've also launched a new behind-the-scene episodic series, 8-part episodic series, an hour length, for each episode, detailing the behind-the-scenes segments for The Mandalorian. And it's streaming on Disney Plus now. I believe they're either 1 or 2 episodes deep in, so if you're familiar or interested, check it out. It's awesome, but god dang, Jon Favreau, wow, what a fantastic producer, what he's doing with The Mandalorian, really reinvigorating, really launching Star Wars from a standpoint in which it should have started with The Force Awakens with J.J. Abrams. Glad to see Disney and production people involved are coming into full force. Not only with the season 1, but now season 2. This is going to be escalating to new heights. Rhiannon, we've covered so many topics about this development for season 2, and all of it fantastic news. So this is just like the 10th cherry on top. So.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. Like the only reason why I got Disney Plus was to watch Command & Conquer.
Like 98% of us.
Then, oh my gosh, it's the only reason why I signed up for it. Well, no, also Verizon, our phone offered like a free 7-day trial, and I was like, oh, I'm hooked. I gotta hang on. Yeah. I love The Mandalorian. So
good deal.
And I was late. I was a late bloomer on it because everyone else was talking about Baby Yoda, and then I I literally just started it like last week. Yeah, well,
holy shite! Wow.
Yeah, I'm really late on this.
Okay, well, hey, at least you got the catch up in one day.
I'm glad that I caught up with that. But no, I'm really excited about the next season. Wow.
Excellent. All right, guys, I'm gonna close out here, but before we do that, we're gonna wrap up with our thoughts, our little, we're going to plug our social media, but I want to cover some of the viewer topics here. My beautiful wife says, you've had my recommendation a while ago, ... Now you've heard it from others. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get the context there, baby. All right, okay. All right. Yes, you did recommend it to me. Amongst other things, that are for my benefit. But you know what? I'm a little hard-headed sometimes, so. I get what you're saying. But thanks, babe. Yes, I will be watching it. We will be watching it and boning each other until we're exasperated. Anyhow. G-Wolf says, listen to your wife. Yes, sir, I will. Thanks, G-Wolf. Guys, if you have anything else to say here, say it now or forever. Hold your peace. Otherwise, we will be closing out this broadcast today, the 9th of March. We've got the fantastic Rhiannon Roberts here. Thank you so much, Rhiannon, for being here and providing us your valuable insight. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the broadcast today, and we hope to see you again. Oh, absolutely. And funny and entertaining, and you're not stuck up. You know, most women in your position and just have this kind of air to them. And it's not pleasant.
Yeah, you gotta stay humble.
Humble. There we are. And that's where we're all here. So, Rhiannon, where can our fantastic viewers watching now and also after the broadcast find you online?
You guys can find me on Instagram at This Is Rhiannon. And I'm also on Twitter, but I haven't used that puppy in years. So, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter, but I'm not going to be there. You can find me on Instagram. I like to post all sorts of things.
Excellent, excellent. All right, guys, so you heard it there. We've got it there on the lower thirds for her. It's This Is Rhiannon. That's where you can find her on Instagram. Give her a follow. And follow her fantastic adventures abroad and then some. And for all of you watching at home, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next Saturday on time without any delays or any production issues. We're ironing it all out right now, but I really appreciate all of you, each and every one of you, for being here. G-Wolf, Paul in Long Beach, Ralph Reyes, Digital Nomad, Sage, Storm Shadow, Orange of Code, and so many others, but for the sake of brevity, I'm going to wrap it up here. Did I say Paul in Long Beach already? I hope I did, but if not, guys, we'll see you next Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic and safe rest of your weekend and week, and thank you for finding out what's poppin' in cinema.
We'll see you next Saturday.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic and safe rest of your weekend and week. Thank you for finding out what's poppin' in cinema. I hope I did, but if not, guys, we'll see you next Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic and safe rest of your weekend and week. Thank you for finding out what's poppin' in cinema. I hope I did, but if not, guys, we'll see you next Saturday. For finding out what's poppin' in cinema.